Welcome back. Now, if you find yourself in debt and struggling to get out of it, you're not alone. Figures from the central bank show that household debt increased for only the second time since the crash in the third quarter of last year, leaving it at €29,592 per capita.
Here to talk us through it is financial advisor Paul Merriman of AskPaul.ie. Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Good morning, Paul.
Great, thanks.
Good to have you. And there's some startling statistics.
Yep.
I mean, Tommy, you mentioned 29,000 per household or per capita. The total household debt, 141.8 billion.
Billion with a B, yep, billion, yeah.
My goodness, but break it down
Why
for us
that
then.
rise in that last
I
quarter?
think people are getting back into borrowing too easily, and the lending institutions are lending. Not for mortgages, very hard to get a mortgage these days, but for personal lending, it's very easy to go into the bank. And there's a couple of other companies, you might have noticed some adverts around town from some companies that disappeared for a while and they're back out now lending. And they're making it easy for people to borrow money.
We're a nation of borrowers. I mean, we're the fourth most indebted households in Europe.
Yeah, so it's a big thing. And look, today is about, what I want to say today is that debt is not necessary. People think if you're in debt, you need to be struggling. You have to be in arrears with your mortgage. Debt is if you have a loan, if you have a car loan, if you have a credit union loan, that's debt. So we're here today to talk about trying to say that when you have debt, it costs money. So when you get money from financial institutions, obviously you're charging interest rate. And again, if you go into an overdraft, you're penalised heavily by the bank. So it's just trying to let people know when they get into those situations how much money they're wasting from their net take-home pay, paying institutions for money that they mightn't necessarily need all the time.
But a lot of people say a sort of sustainable amount of debt is kind of normal, or, it's just part of life.
Yeah, it's not though.
It's not. Okay.
It doesn't have to be, I suppose.
Credit union loan for the holidays, forget about it.
Look, we're not here to be kind of ditch anyone that's doing that. It is a normal part of society and it's great, but it's about just trying to manage that level. If you are in a little bit of debt, if you have a little bit of debt, trying to manage it. And also trying to tell people how to get out of it. The other thing I want to try and promote today is for younger people not to get into debt so easily and so quickly. I know with student loans is obviously kind of part of society as well, but maybe those car loans, credit cards, holidays, all those different kind of loans that you get very easily. If you get into trouble with those loans, they have a massive impact on your credit rating for years to come.
You could be paying the price for...
You could be paying the price for years, yeah. And
well, you've got some great tips for tackling debt. Actually, one which resonated with me was keeping up with the Joneses, because, we're supposed to be in financial recovery after the crash. And yet people aren't necessarily seeing that in their pocket, but there's sort of there's a feeling that you should be going on your foreign holiday and you should be changing your car and you should be doing all of these things. But if the money isn't in the bank...
Yeah, if the money's in the bank, that's the thing. I mean, the main thing here with the tips is to kind of plan and budget is probably the big one there, you see. And again, keeping up with the Joneses, if you haven't got it in your own bank account, doesn't mean you go borrow it to try and do something. Look, we all do it sometimes and it's great, but it's about trying to keep a cap on that and try and get people to realise not to get into too much difficulty by borrowing too much, and that's really it.
What's the debt?
Sorry,
we were going to ask the same thing. What's the debt ladder?
Okay, so debt ladder is if you're in debt, say you have a few loans, say you have a credit card, a car loan, and maybe a personal loan.
Yeah.
Most people, most advisors out there tell people to tackle the one with the highest interest first to clear that quicker. I'm the opposite. I tell people to go with the one that costs least on your ladder. So if you have a ladder, you've got 3 debts. The one at the bottom, you pay that off first. So the smallest debt, not interest rate. So say that you've got a 5,000 loan, let's say car loan, 2,000 credit card and €1,000 from the credit union. Clear the €1,000 one first, because that's going to be the easiest one to clear. Ignore the interest rates, because psychologically you've got one loan down, you've got 2 left.
So it's a thing to keep you into the habit of tackling
If you
debt.
go for the highest interest rate, it could be 2 or 3 years and you still have 3 loans at the end of that period. So psychologically wise, you're 70% more likely to clear your loans quicker by going after the lowest loan first.
Feel you've accomplished something.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of give yourself a pat on the back. And then the money you save from that loan, when you cleared it, you put it onto the next loan, and then so far, so you're going up the ladder with your repayments.
So ditch the credit cards.
Ditch the credit cards, yeah.
You're not a fan of cards at all, because you say don't use the debit card as well.
No, the debit card. Big cash is king, as they say. The reason why it's very hard to keep track of what's coming in and out of your bank when you have your debit card, especially with the tip and go or the tap your pay.
Yeah.
So again, that's another one. But all these tips, and also as we get covered for time, but all these tips are on the Ask Paul website. There's a great blog there that goes over all the 10 tips, especially the debt ladder, because that's a little bit complicated to describe and tell you. So there's a great blog there.
I like one of the tips you have. Tell the kids you're on a budget and learn to say no. We all want to give our children everything. And I suppose you don't want to worry children by making them feel insecure. If you start talking about money, in a negative way.
Yeah,
but there's a happy medium. There's a way to do it.
I said this the last time I was on about the kids and kind of pocket money and teaching kids good habits, and it stems from your parents, obviously, like everything in life. So if you can talk to them about money a little bit more and say, no, we're on a budget and we're only going to do this week or this month, it just gets them involved. It doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to be we have no money. It's not about that. The other thing we just mentioned on that, when you have no money, you're teaching the kids, when the payroll comes in or your salary comes in, it's not a target to spend.
Yeah.
You don't have to try and spend every penny before payday. So just saying doesn't mean you haven't got the money. Like the money could be still in your account. It doesn't mean you just want to waste your money on silly things.
Yes.
So those are a few bits around tackling the debt that you have, and as you said, there's a lot more details, on your website.
Yeah.
Just in terms of cutting spending, because that stops you building up more debt. I mean, there's lots of tiny little things that add up, make your morning coffee at home, the things that are €3 a day, but that's what...
They add up, like bottle of water and a cup of coffee is nearly $1,000 a year. So
that's
again,
amazing.
rather than trying to borrow that for a holiday or a weekend away with lads and the girls, maybe just stop those things and keep an extra couple of quid aside, It's
taking your lunch to work with you. I mean, that's a holiday
reusable
right
drink
there.
Bottle, save the planet as well there.
Yeah.
So and again, getting rid of your TV package or cutting down TV packages, shopping around for insurance.
I think that's something.
Don't get rid of
that
TV3, by the way. Make sure whatever package you have has TV3. It's very important. You get all these tips.
But changing insurance, usually you don't realise your insurance is up till you get the phone call saying it's due in 2 weeks, and at that point it's just easy to stay where you are.
Yeah, we have a blog coming out next week. Actually, I was just running research this week, and it's all about how much people spend on their insurance. If you actually calculate, because you pay some insurance on a monthly basis, or some your mortgage protection might be through with your mortgage repayment, it adds up to nearly $5 or $6 grand a year, and people just don't realise it because they hate the car insurance. We've also got house insurance, health insurance, life insurance. If you actually sit back and give yourself maybe half an hour to write down how much, it's going to be the second biggest after your the third biggest after your rent or your mortgage and after your shopping. Your insurance bills are generally the third largest in the household. So trying to tackle them and trying to get good independent financial advice and how to cut them is really important, because you could save thousands
and shopping
a year.
around and really haggling. I got my car insurance renewal in the post yesterday, and by the way, I was...
Were you crying? Were you in tears?
I was just back from holidays.
So you cycle to work today?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Cycle to work, make my own lunch, make the coffee at home.
Yeah. Coffee and work is free, you're okay.
All these little tips do add up, though.
They do all add
up. With any luck, we'll feel
it's about being clever with your money. That's all this is about to promote. Trying to be a little bit clever so you don't have to maybe borrow for that holiday or borrow for changing the car or something like that, that you have the cash in the bank to do it. And you're not given, the big thing here is that you're not paying for money, because you're getting paid money. You should try and make that work for yourself the best you can.
Climb up the old debt ladder.
Yeah, climb up that debt ladder, get rid of your debt.
Thanks so
very much,
Paul.
Paul.
Great
Cheers,
to have you in, as always.